continuing on, then you can see in example 9.6, if you were to depreciate all of these three assets that were provided in this example right up here, you would see how the depreciation expense or deduction would fall for each of those three assets, and you get your yearly totals over here, and then you can see at the end of the life of all those assets, you would have the original cost fully depreciated. So what happens in the year of disposal using the half-year convention? Simply put, you get a half a year's worth of depreciation in the year of disposal too. So this example says if the company sold all of its office furniture in year 2, you would calculate depreciation for year 2 as follows. Here's the cost. That's the 24.49%. That's the depreciation percent that applies to year 2 for 7-year property. So that would be a full year's worth of depreciation, this 24.49. In the year of disposal, half-year convention means you get half of that depreciation. So 12.25 would be the depreciation deduction for year 2. It's worthy to note that if it's right here too. Assume that they sold all their furniture in year 1. If you buy and sell furniture or any asset in the same year, you don't take any depreciation deduction for that. You simply calculate a gain or a loss on the sale whenever you do dispose. Mid-quarter convention is applied the same way as the half year, except there are different tables to be used because you need to differentiate between the first, second, third, and fourth quarter. So instead of just having one set of columns for 5- and 7-year property right here, you have one for each quarter. So if assets are purchased in the first quarter, you use these tables: second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So looking at our assets that we had before, assuming that we're on the mid-quarter convention, you would calculate depreciation expense like this. Here's the original basis. These rates came from this table right above. So let's see, office furniture, 7-year property purchased in the first quarter, we get a rate of 25%. So 7-year property purchased in the first quarter would use this rate of 25%. Notice we don't have to do any mathematical, any kind of longhand calculations like we did in principles. We've got tables to do all the depreciation calculations. We just have to multiply. So here's the delivery truck. It was purchased in the third quarter. It would use a rate of 15%. Let's see, delivery truck, third quarter, 5-year, 15%, because we are in year 1. Okay, and the machinery, back to 7-year property, purchased in the fourth quarter, 3.57%. Okay, so you'll notice the depreciation expense then is significantly impacted by the quarter in which the asset was placed in service. What do you do if you dispose of an asset and the asset is being depreciated under mid-quarter? Here you have to take depreciation and assume that the asset was placed in service in the middle of the quarter that it was actually disposed in. So instead of getting a half year's worth of depreciation for that asset, you would get a different percentage. So if you dispose of an asset in the first quarter, it means you barely had it. So you only had it for effectively a month and a half, which is 1.5/12 or 12.5% of the year. So you calculate a normal year's worth of depreciation and then multiply that fraction by, in this case, 12.5% instead of 50%, which was the case under the half-year convention. You can see an example down here. This company sells furniture in the third quarter of year 2. So here's the original basis. There's the year 2 depreciation percentage from this table. So that would be a full year's worth of depreciation, but you only get 62.5% or 7.5/12 because you sold the asset in the third quarter. The middle of the third quarter is August 15th, so 7.5 months into the year. So that would be the depreciation deduction. Next, we'll talk about immediate expensing.